So I also use Keynote, as Andy was describing to you and showing you. I also use Doceri, which John will probably talk about later on. But I've based most of my presentations on an app called Prezi. And I was first introduced to Prezi about a couple years ago from my brother-in-law, who is a medical student at NYU. And he told me something interesting. He said, you know, he grew up in the technology age. He's part of the video game age, and he said that Prezi allowed him to understand and retain information in his own way, in his way of learning. And so it's dynamic, it's creative, it's innovative, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be a professor and teach concepts to this new generation, why don't I learn how they learn? Why don't I learn how they retain information so that they can do better and succeed in university? So this is Prezi, and so I'm just going to take you through some of this. Is basically a presentation type of app. I'll take you through the great thing about Prezi is that you can zoom in and zoom out into and focus, narrow in different parts of your lecture. Here's neurons, we talk about that, and then if we further zoom in, you get a good picture of a neuron, and then I could zoom in further and talk about axons, dendrites, and neurons, and so forth, based on different regions of the brain. This is helpful for folks, especially students, who enjoy that type of technology. It's intriguing, it's compelling, and they're interested. And so if we move on, and Andy talked a little bit about video. And this is one that I showed, which is helpful for them to also see the video connected to the concept or the neuron, the brain region, as they listen to. Again, it's a video that you can just upload onto Prezi.
These incredible organic chips function through electric signals. They control nearly everything we do, from thinking to moving muscles, from sensing to hearing.
So here we have, as they learn, you have all these senses stimulated at the same time so that they can really collect that information, retain it, and then hopefully during exams and so forth, they'll be able to successfully score well on the exam. So this is just a brief video. We won't go further on this, but just to give you an idea of the video capacity of Prezi as well as the iPad. It's, as you know, it's mobile. I can walk around, ask questions, talk to students, and get their ideas and thoughts, and then we move on to the next. Zooming out, then back into the dendrite, specifically different parts of the regions of the brain. You have text as well as zooming into where the dendrite is located. You can elicit more discussion, then moving on to axons and so forth. And then you can, there's animation where you can have text pop up or take it away based on your lecture style or discussion style when you're in class. Moving along here, I want to show you a few other things. I use video as well as images to describe what I'm talking about, and I have, of course, extra text here, and then you can zoom in to different parts of the synapse, which will allow the students to get a good picture of, okay, these are the neurotransmitters and how they're transmitted from axon to axon, axon to dendrite, and different across different neurons. And then I typically use different apps, like I said. Here I get to the brain, and then if I want to get in more detail about the brain, zooming into the brain, here are the different regions, and then I use another app, which I recently found, which is very, look at this, dynamic, innovative. It gives you different areas where you can talk about these 3D images. It also gives you the overview of the brain, case studies. So different apps like this allow you to use information that's out there, bring it into the class, make it intriguing and interesting for the student. And if I go to something more specific like the limbic system, this allows the student to get a really good idea of what it looks like based on also the labels and specific components of the limbic system. So this proved to be something exciting for me, as well as exciting for the students to learn and gain this knowledge, and they happened to come to class. They were excited to come. They were interested in this type of delivery of information. So that's Prezi and some of the video and audio, and as well as the images that I use.